Hello everybody and welcome to Bristol Temple Mead Station. Now today I'm going to be travelling from Bristol to Newport, but not by train, which is what most people do as it is fast and direct, but I'm going to be doing it by local bus, and this will mainly feature the TrawsCymru T7 service. The TrawsCymru network over in Wales is mostly linked together, but the T7 is an odd one. It goes to Bristol and it is the only TrawsCymru service that does that, and it might even be the only TrawsCymru service that goes into England, but I'm not too sure on that one. I may need to do some more research on that. The T7 is also very unique as it doesn't connect to any other TrawsCymru services. It doesn't even connect to any Newport bus or Welsh services over in Bristol, and in Chepstow it only connects with local Newport bus services, not any TrawsCymru services. Anyway, to get from Bristol Temple Meads to Bristol bus station, I had to use the first bus west of England, service 8. This runs every couple of minutes, especially on weekdays and Saturdays, between Temple Meads and Clifton via the city centre. The closest bus stop to Bristol bus station is Broadmead, the Haymarket. As you saw then, that service can get very busy, and I actually travelled on service 8 the day after, and once again it was absolutely rammed. It was formed by a Yutong E10. My bus over to Chepstow today, and the one again onwards to Newport on service 73, would be the longer version of the E10, which is the Yutong E12. Although the ones that Newport bus have are a couple of years older than the Yutong E10s and E12s that First West of England have, which quite a lot of them actually, along with some U11DDs, have entered service in 2026 and therefore are completely brand new. One thing I don't like about the new First West of England Newtongs is that they only have USB-C ports. Yeah, sure, having a USB-A port is a little bit old-fashioned nowadays, but a lot of people still have to use USB-A ports, so perhaps switching to USB-C only already is not the best thing. Anyway, I'm not too sure what USB ports the Yutong E12s with Newport bus have, but they definitely have charging facilities. As well as that, they use a lot comfier seats than the First West of England Yutongs, which use these really weird and very uncomfortable seats. You will find these across the First Bus network, and I've not encountered any other buses or any other Yutong buses with any other operators which have these seats. However, I haven't been on the Stagecoach Southwest ones yet, which may also have the same seats. I'm not too sure. Anyway, here I am leaving Bristol city centre and the bus station, running via Clifton Down and the BRI. After passing Clifton Down railway station, we passed this weird fun fair thing near Redland. I think it's at Black Boy Hill.
Wait a minute. The slide and that. Yeah. Let's take away.
On the way towards Cribbs Causeway bus station, we passed through the absolutely massive Cribbs Causeway shopping complex. Although the bus station is located right next to the mall itself, there are a few smaller retail parks and shopping outlets located around the shopping mall itself. As well as this, when we came into the bus station, we also passed the TrawsCymru branded Yutong E12 heading in the other direction back towards Bristol. That Yutong was wearing the TrawsCymru livery, which is what should be used on this TrawsCymru T7 bus route. However, a lot of the Yutongs that are used on this route are just in the standard Newport bus livery, which I personally don't mind, as it is in a lovely shade of green and the branding is absolutely on point. Anyway, after dropping off and picking up a few people, we leave Cribbs Causeway bus station bang on time at 10:37. Here we pass a number of quite interesting buses, including a Big Lemon ex-Bristol Community Transport ADL Enviro 200 and a Euro Coaches ex-Dublin bus Volvo B70L Alexander ALX 400 on the 40 service towards Avonmouth. That service only runs on weekdays and doesn't run very frequently at all, but I do quite like the fact that there is a B7 on that route. Anyway, about 5 minutes after leaving Cribbs Causeway, we join the M5 motorway and then switch over at the Almondsbury interchange onto the M4 motorway to head across to Chepstow. Not too long after switching onto the M4, we switch over again onto the M48. The M4 continues directly to Newport and Cardiff via the Prince of Wales Bridge, which you can see across here from the bridge we're travelling on the M48, which is just called the Severn Bridge. Pretty ironic as we're crossing the River Severn. Anyway, we don't head directly to Newport, a change of bus is required at Chepstow. However, some buses, 2 a day to be exact, do continue on to Magor, I'm not too sure how you pronounce it. However, services from Bristol to Newport were axed some time ago. Here I am branching off the M48 to head into Chepstow, where a change of bus is required at the very nice Chepstow bus station. I was pleasantly surprised by this bus station. It's small but very neat and quite efficient, apart from the fact that it gets jammed up every 2 seconds. There's also one of my favourite shops located right next door, an M&S food hall. Now I'm not posh and a lot of people tend to think that a lot of posh people shop at M&S, and well, they really do, but I cannot resist buying a packet of their biscuits from there quite often. Unfortunately, I didn't have time today, but my local bus does stop right outside an M&S. Before getting to the bus station and the M&S food hall here in Chepstow, we had to pass through the local housing estate, which, well, looking at it, had seen better days, although some of the houses were still in great condition. Here I am arriving into Chepstow bus station, which is actually very popular, and I think there are a lot of buses leaving at the same time as what my bus was. I was catching the 73 service, which operates between Chepstow and Newport exclusively, a bit like this X74, and the normal 74 does as well, at least I think so. Some buses do continue on from here though, to Lydney, and I do believe there is a Chepstow town service too. As we leave Chepstow bus station, here we can see one of the Yutong E9 buses in operation on one of the more local services. This is Yutong's take on the ADL Enviro 100 EV, or on a diesel bus, I would perhaps guess the Optare Solo SR. It's not actually based on anything, but it's very similar to those two buses. As I arrive into Newport, we get a great look over the local river and at the Friars Walk shopping centre, which is also where one of the two bus stations is located. The other one, which I can't actually remember what it's called, is located just across the way and is less spectacular, but is still pretty decent. That bus station is mainly used by stagecoach buses, while the Friars Walk bus station right here is mainly used by Newport Bus. Now I'm here at the Friars Walk bus station, you would think I'd be saying, thank you very much everybody for watching, and I will see you in the next one. But no, I'm not going to say that, because I spotted that there was a Dennis Trident out on one of the local Newport bus services. I think it was service 13, and I just couldn't resist taking a ride on one. They have many here, but most of them don't go out in the school holidays, which is when I was filming this. However, there are a couple out, and the easiest one for me to get on was the Dennis Trident Alexander ALX 400 on the 13 service. This wears the older Newport bus livery, which many, in fact I think all, of the diesel buses. No, that's not right. There are actually a few MMCs that wear a plain white livery, and most of the older diesel buses, such as the E200s and the Dennis Tridents, wear this more darker green livery, whereas the electrics wear a lighter green livery. There's also a Dennis Trident East Lancs Millennium Line on the Sainsbury's shuttle service, which I wouldn't have mind going on as well, but my time here just didn't allow for that. Although I do prefer the bodywork on the Millennium lines, however, I just like the ALX 400s. Both buses have a lot of character. Here I am arriving back into Newport Friars Walk bus station. Now I would just like to say thank you very much for watching this video, and I will try at some point and come back to Newport to ride on some more of these Dennis Tridents. I do quite like a lot of them, and I didn't realise that they actually went out in the Easter holidays at all. And on most days, looking at bustimes.org, there are actually 3 or 4 out, although today there was only 2 out, but usually there is a decent amount of Dennis Tridents out in Newport. And I believe most of them are ex-Weber bus in Bridgewater as well, which does mean it has local links to where I live, which I actually found quite interesting. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye everyone!